I think these next 3 days are about fundamentals, technique. You know, again, this is a teaching camp. You know, we're not going to conquer the world over these next 3 days, but this is a teaching camp. We talked about that this morning with the players. Again, you know, it's fundamentals, it's technique, it's, you know, our basic information, our basic installation. It's getting out here, it's, you know, getting in and out of a huddle, quarterback center exchange, ball security, you know, the basic elements of football. Because if you don't have that as a foundation, we really can't do much after that. So.
Brian, what into the AAF guys that you brought in? There's a whole batch of them, obviously.
You know, I think the guys we brought in, they you know, had some success in the AAF, and you know, they're good players. They're you know, good people, and you know, they'll come in and have an opportunity to show what they can do, and if they can help this team win games, and you know, they'll be out there. That's for sure.
Brian, how would you sum up what you saw in phase one of the offseason program?
Well, you know, phase one, we don't really, you know, we don't get to see them, you know, very much. You know, they're in there with the strength coaches for the most part, strength training. You know, our coaches get them a little bit in some meetings. So that was good. That part of it was good. I think we've got a group that, you know, they work hard. They're, you know, eager to learn. It's a new system for everyone. And I think they've done a good job over these first couple weeks, but it's so early. You know, you can't make a determination of this guy can do this, that guy can do that. I mean, we haven't even stepped on the field yet.
Brian, the roster looks relatively thin. You don't even have enough offensive linemen to put together two lines. How do you address that with 7 draft picks?
You know, right now my focus is on getting out there for practice with the you know, with the players we have, you know, and the guys we have, whether it's, you know, however many or however little, you know, we're going to do everything we can to help those guys improve, help those guys become the best version of themselves. And, you know, we'll worry about, you know, draft and things of that nature when we get to that. You know, I think you know, I tell those guys, let's take it one play at a time. You know, I got to practice what I preach. So that's kind of my objective and my goal here over the next few days.
Where are Keene Grant and Albert Wilson in their recoveries from injury?
Those guys are working extremely hard to get back out on the field. They've, you know, they're in here a lot. They're in here. They're doing everything they can do to get back on the field. So, you know, hopefully we see them out there, you know, as soon as possible.
The international player, the Brazilian, I believe it's NATO. How do you work with a guy when he might not have football instincts, those natural?
I think this is a great time for him to be here because it's strictly fundamentals, it's strictly technique, it's the most basic part of the football where you're laying a foundation down. So, you know, I talked to him yesterday and I said, this is a great time for you to be here. You know, he'll be working hand placement, footwork. You'll learn the basics of, you know, our defense, and you know, from that standpoint. And you know, I'm excited to have him. He's a good-looking young kid, and you know, we'll work with him, and we'll try to get, you know, look, from what you know, he's been here a day, so. The time I spent with him, he seems like he's eager to learn. He's eager to put in a lot of effort, and you know, we'll try to maximize, you know, his potential, which I think there's something there.
Brian, how important is it to have a veteran like Ryan Fitzpatrick came through as a quarterback, considering the transition of this team right now, and is he the anticipated starter going into the season?
I think, you know, Ryan's a great leader. He's shown that already. He's been in this league a long time. He's smart. He works hard. He embodies a lot of the qualities we're looking for in our players. Not even our players, everyone in this organization. So, you know, that leadership, you know, is something that, you know, I think this team needs. I think every team needs that. We need that from not just one player. We need that from, you know, everyone on the roster. So, you know, I think to me, leadership is, you know, you don't have to be a rah-rah guy to lead. You got to work hard and put the team first. And I think we got you know, a group of guys who do that. And I think that'll help us. And I think he kind of leads the way from that standpoint.
What have the last 2 months been like for you?
They've been a lot of fun. You know, I'm living a dream. So it's you know, there's a lot going on. You know, to be in this position, you know, you're dealing with, you know, players, coaches, Chris and I work, we talk, daily on a daily basis about, over the last 2 months, obviously we had free agency and draft and combine and 30 visits, and those have all been parts of this process that I haven't dealt with before. But kind of going through it's been good, and it's been a learning process. And like the players, I try to learn and improve every day. I tell them to do that. Again, I practice what I preach, so I've learned and tried to improve on a daily basis, and I'll continue to do that.
Does it enter a different phase today when you step on the field? Is this kind of a different category for you?
Well, this enters the phase that I'm used to and I enjoy the most. I'm passionate about coaching football. So today is a special day to me. It's a special day for me, for this team, and I'm excited to come out here and do what I love to do, which is coach football.
From Grant and Jakeem that you just mentioned, is there anyone else that won't be working today, or you don't expect to be working today?
This is, I'll just this is a voluntary camp. Obviously, we've had a pretty good, we've had most of the guys here. I'll tell you this, just being frank and honest, which I'm going to try to do that with you guys. Rashad Jones won't be here today, and he and I have been in constant communication. I'm aware that he's not going to be here. But with that said, like I've said already, I'm going to coach the guys who are here. I'm going to help those guys, improve. Our coaching staff's going to do the same, that's that.
Do you see Rashad as part of the organization that you're building?
Yeah, he's here, and he's part of the organization. And again, I don't want to make this he and I have been in constant communication. So again, it's voluntary. He made a decision to train somewhere else, and it's voluntary. There's not much we can do about it, and that's where that is.
So I guess from your understanding, it's not based on his roster status. It's not
No.
he decided separately.
Yeah, exactly. But he and I obviously communicated about it, and it's voluntary. So that's where it is. It's not the first time a guy hasn't showed up to a voluntary camp, guys. It's voluntary. So.
Rashad had surgery in February. Is that a factor into it as well?
Yep. I would say, there's a few factors, but I would say that Rashad, he's obviously rehabbing the shoulder, and he's training. He's been here. He looks good. He's been in all the meetings. That's been good, and I think he's learning all the terminology and learning the defense, and that's been good. So, it's part of the process.
So you're okay with it, or you're disappointed, or what?
I'm focused on the guys who are here. That's where I'm at. So that's where I'm at. So the guys who are here, I'm going to coach them. I'm going to coach them hard. I'm going to try to help them improve, and that's kind of my stance on that.
Is Rashad upset about anything?
You'd have to talk to Rashad about that.
Brian, one last thing on Rashad. Has he indicated if he wants to be on the team next year, or has he asked for you to try to move him at this rate?
I'm going to tell you guys this. My conversations with our players, I'm going to keep them private, and I'm going to leave it right there.
How are you going about, managing and delegating everything that comes with your responsibility from the draft, free agency, those kind of things, and like you said, your favorite part of football?
That part of it's been good, and I think delegating is something that's I want to say it's newer in this role. I've delegated in the past in some other roles, but it's different in this role. But I've got a lot of people on this staff that I trust. So delegating to them is, it's pretty seamless for me. It's not, a huge issue, but a lot of the things, obviously, I want everything run by my desk and, the way I want things. So, yeah, I think it hasn't been an issue.
Coach, you felt how hot it is out there? Is that a change?
I enjoy the heat, so that's not going to be an issue for me at all, guys. I've heard that over and over and over again since I've been here, and we'll see how hot it gets. But that's never really been an issue for me.
Any other players aside from Wilson and Grant physically that aren't able to go yet?
Well, again, I'm gonna, from a that standpoint, I'll kind of the injury report comes out at some when's that, in September? So we'll go with that.
Brian, when you first got in front of the team, what were, say, 2 or 3 main bullet points you wanted to get across to the players to kind of set the tone?
Let's focus on improving. Let's focus on our technique. Let's focus on our fundamentals, and let's establish a practice tempo that will be, because again, practice execution becomes game reality. I firmly believe that. That's something I've learned over the years. So let's establish a practice routine, establish practice habits, and focus on improvement. That's probably 4 or 5 bullet points, but that's kind of was the crux of our conversation this morning.
Obviously, Rashad's absence impacts Minka because Minka, you wanted to cross-train him at cornerback and at safety, or at least it seems so. Does he now have to primarily focus on safety?
Minka's going to play multiple roles. I don't think, someone being out of lineup would affect that too much at this time. Again, this time of year we're not going to be in and out of crazy, alignments or defensive. We're not going to be in our exotics, I would say. This is not the time for that. This is about, again, fundamentals and, technique and basic information installation. So, not really.
Brian, how important do you see this time of year in terms of establishing the foundation and, as you mentioned, the practice?
I think every day counts. Every day counts. I think every day is a day to improve, a day to get better, and, I think any situation or, anytime we can improve is the difference between getting 4th and 1 and not getting 4th and 1. So, yeah, I think this counts, and I'm excited about it, and hopefully we can, win today.
Brian, draft preparation, how different is it between last year and this year, defensive coordinator and head coach?
Again, right now my focus is on going out here and 15 minutes and working on helping these guys improve. So again, I'm a one play at a time guy. That's what I tell the players. I got to practice what I preach. So that's kind of where my focus is. I understand the question. I know that's coming up, and
you're just speak as a guy who loves today, who lives for coaching,
right.
But you've got the draft duties also,
Yeah,
splitting up
absolutely.
time during the week. Has that been a big change? Has that been difficult? Is it a little bit of a distraction, or how would you describe that?
I would describe it as part of the job. I've got to compartmentalize. I think you guys have talked about that already. I've got a myriad of things I need to do. The draft process is one of them. The meetings with the players is another one. And then there's various things that I'm in charge of, I would say, or things that I have to do. So that's part of the job, and that part of it's it's fun too. So that's kind of where I'm at.
What level of input do you have? Does Chris come to you and say, hey, we like these 5 guys, which ones do you like the most? How does that work?
Chris and I are in constant communication, whether it's on the phone, whether he's in my office, I'm in his office. We're in constant communication about players, draft, free agency, AAF players. So he and I have a really good relationship. We're aligned on a lot of the things that we're looking for in players. He's excited about seeing the guys come out here today, and that's kind of it's been a pretty good, not pretty good, a very good working relationship.
Thank you.